effort. And apparently he is all right. Meanwhile, Tommy Kramer, in their win over Cleveland, had heat exhaustion. He was given fluids on the plane coming back intravenously. So it has not been a lot of time to get ready for tonight's game. 3 days for Minnesota, 4 days for San Francisco. And the 49ers have won the toss. Dropping is Dana McLemore, 5th-round draft pick out of Hawaii last year. Not quite as gifted on the kickoff returns as he is on punt returns, but he is back there. Also dropping back is Carl Monroe. And Vinny Ricardo, who got the job only a week ago when Rick Danmeyer, the kicker for many years here at Minnesota, went down with a back injury. He underwent microscopic surgery in the back, and he is out. And Vinny Ricardo, who has been with about a half a dozen teams over a career, out of football a year ago, will put the ball in play for Minnesota. We're ready to go. The Vikings won their first against Cleveland. San Francisco dropped their opener against Philadelphia. Dana McLemore from the 9-yard line. McLemore, the big opening. And McLemore, good field position. He is out over the 45 to the 47-yard line. Hit there by Rufus Bess. And so Joe Montana will have good field position as he comes out. In the time that he did play last week, he was 10 of 20. No touchdowns, 1 interception. And their loss, 22-17 to the Eagles. We'll take a look at the rest of the offensive unit. The great one. Out on the flank is Dwight Clark, and this is the man that Montana likes to go to when he needs the sure pass. Freddie Sullivan, also a deep man. We'll also watch Ronaldo Nehemiah tonight, the great hurdler who has turned into a potentially dangerous deep threat as a pro receiver. 1st and 10. 49ers will put it up in the air, and going out to Roger Craig, the rookie out of Nebraska, and incomplete is Joe Montana. Let's take a look at the defensive unit for the Minnesota Vikings. And like the 49ers, they'll change it. On a pass situation, they'll bring in a 4th man, Randy Holloway. But they open with the 3-4. Great outside linebacker is Matt Blair. They're tough inside. Scott Studwell, big, strong against the run, coming off an injured Achilles tendon, but he did play against Cleveland, and they say he is at full strength tonight. His 2nd down and 10. 49ers at their own 47-yard line. Roger Craig, the rookie 2nd-round draft pick out of Nebraska. He was in motion, and Montana finds the opening, and he goes to Wendell Tyler. And Tyler up close to a 1st down. He might just be a little short. This is, again, dependent upon where they mark it. Wendell Tyler, of course, acquired from the Rams last year when the 49ers so desperately needed the run. They were last in the league in rushing the football, and he has given them that. He's given them a lot of excitement, but he's given them some headaches because he came up with a fumble in the final 2 minutes of last week's game when they were in a position to win the game.
He hadn't fumbled in the entire preseason. Yet that continuing rap upon him gets to him when the regular season begins, or apparently so. The continuing rap being that Wendell fumbles in the clutch.
Well, not only does he fumble in the clutch, if you look at his record over the last 2 years, he's fumbled 21 times. So he's fumbled 4 times more than any other starting back in the NFL. So he does fumble. But talking to the offensive linemen of the 49ers today, they were a little disappointed that the 49ers didn't run more last week. They've been getting a lot of criticism that they don't block well for the run. And last week, with the backs averaging over 6.5 yards a carry, they should run the ball a little more.
3rd down, you saw how much. Joe Montana looks it over. The referee, Jim Tunney, has set the ball just about 6 inches, and Joe Montana, well, in spite of the concussion that he suffered last Saturday, takes it in for himself. He'll get the 1st down. And when you go back to Wendell Tyler a little bit, he has been that victim. But I'll tell you what he does. He provides excitement. He scored 30 touchdowns in the last 2 years, and he also had a scintillating 32-yard run last week. He makes things happen out there.
Yeah, I tell you, the linemen, they love those great backs. It was this offseason that the group of the linemen went to Walsh and said, get us a great back, and Bill went out and got one of the better ones.
The pair of tight ends in now. Earl Cooper joins Russ Francis. Roger Craig, single set back. Montana up on top. Gets it out to Solomon, and Solomon has the 1st down. Inside the 30, steps out of bounds, close to the 28-yard line, and Freddie Solomon now in his 9th year, picking up where he left off a year ago. Gifted receiver.
There are all kinds of rumors to the effect that the Niners were trying to trade Solomon during the offseason. Didn't happen that he was traded. In fact, he continues to be, as noted in the opening of the program, one of the wise receivers in the league.
Only 16 receptions a year ago, but when you have Dwight Clark, who almost perennially leads the receptions on the other side. Who do you look for? I know it's tough when you're receiving, you're not getting the passes. On 1st and 10, Montana. Field is wide open in front of him. Wisely stepping out of bounds after a pickup of about 7 yards. Down close to the 22-yard line is Montana. John Swain came back to force him out.
Juice, I don't think you were with me when I was talking to Joe this morning about being felled 3 times in the opening game against the Eagles. He said it was a frightening experience, the only time in his life he's ever suffered loss of memory. And he almost felt he could understand what happens to fighters.
It's because he's only played 5 years. There'll be others.
Well, said he began to feel himself 2 days ago, and we'll see how he goes.
On 2nd down, long 3. It was Roger Craig, and good defensive effort as the Minnesota Vikings close down over that left side. That should put Joe Montana in a pass situation. The play will be brought in. I talked about the Vikings getting a better pass rush than they did in 1981. Last year, over 9 games, they had 30 sacks. If you project that over a 16-game season, they would have given them 53. And in 81, they were one of the few teams in the league that didn't get up over the 35 mark. They had 33 in 16 games in 81, so they were better last year. 3rd down and 3. Tyler in motion. Montana chased out of the pocket. Firing into the end zone, and that could have been picked off by John Turner. Turner was the only player of the 22 even near the football, as Montana, I think, was trying to throw it away, and he almost threw it too low.
John Turner is the most versatile back that they have. He can play anywhere. Enough foot speed to even play the corner. A fine athlete, beautifully built, strong enough to play strong safety, yet acute enough to be able to play free safety.
Well, he certainly can't play offensive receiver because that ball was thrown right in his hand.
That's true.
38-yard attempt by Ray Wershing. He made one from 23 last week. He was 12 of 17 a year ago. On the way to the uprights, and the 49ers, their first possession, have taken a 3-point lead with 12:49 remaining in the first quarter. It's Ray Wershing drilling it through a year ago out of Stanford. If you follow college football, you know he had a sensational career out there doing a little bit of everything. And of course, Jarvis Redwine, a couple of years out of Nebraska, both blazing speed. Set to kick off is Wershing. It will be deep into the end zone. It drives Redwine way back, and Darren Nelson wisely tells him to stay there. That's his role, to look upfield and see if there's a possibility to get it out. And he kept Redwine in the end zone. So the Vikings will have it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Tommy Kramer comes out. Last Sunday, 22 of 23 for 198 yards in the first half alone against the Cleveland Browns. Up he comes. Dangerous man coming out of the backfield. There's a receiver, a running back, Ted Brown. He doesn't cough the ball up. He's carried it 385 times, or handled it 385 times without a fumble. Darren Nelson is in there, but he splits out of the flanker. Kramer on 1st down will go to the air and fires low and incomplete to Sammy White, who was open for 1st down yardage out of the 30-yard line. There's Rick Jervis covering for San Francisco. Again, the 3-4. We'll watch the San Francisco 49ers work with that. O.J. already touched on the problems. The linebacker missing are some good ones. Bob Horn, Jack Reynolds, Gary Moten. And this is the secondary. Ronnie Lott, one of the best that ever played this game, out on the corner for the 49ers. The 2nd down and 10. Brown, the single setback. Nelson split to the right. Brown scored 3 touchdowns against Cleveland a week ago, and he runs into a lot of 49ers over the right side, headed by Fred Dean, who we will see moving in and out of the lineup, along with Dwayne Board. Dean and Board, the best pass rushers of the 49ers. There was a game maybe as a half a yard and a lead. Tommy Kramer in almost a sure pass situation. And in comes Marty McDowell, the 3rd wide receiver for the Vikings. They have LeCount, McDowell, Mike Jones, and also Sammy White. They have 4 wide receivers in. The tight ends come out because, in case you did not know it, Joe Cincher, their great tight end, is out probably for the entire season with a knee injury. 3rd and 10. Kramer tried to sneak one in between a pair of defenders. Dwight Hicks knocking it away, intended for Mike Jones. And we'll see the punting unit for the Vikings.
All over him. The last couple of years, I think he has something like 16, 17 interceptions, and he's just been a super for their defensive secondary.
You read those numbers right. 7 returns, 22.3-yard average a year ago. Dana McLemore, I talked about him on the opening kickoff. He is really dangerous on punt returns. He has a gift for it. But he does not fair catch, and down he goes. He's barreled over there by Joey Browner, the #1 draft pick out of USC for the Minnesota Vikings. Good athlete.
Gutsy play, but very dangerous. Still, he's the man who set up the San Francisco field goal with his first kick run. Will be back.
On the ground, half of their offense in their winning effort against Cleveland last Sunday came on the rushing game. Ronaldo Nehemiah in the game, number 83. But this is again to Tyler, right side. Gets out of the 35. Gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. And when you talk about people like Tyler, O.J., he does carry the ball very wide, but once players, and it gets around the league, that you cough it up a little bit, they're going to go for it every time, aren't they?
Every time, especially a defense like the Vikings. They've been very opportunistic over the years, and they're tackling the ball a lot of times. But the 49ers offensive line have done a super job over the years. They know they're not going to get their true recognition until they get a running game, and they would like to see the team run the ball more.
2nd down and 8. What would you tell Wendell Tyler to avoid it? On the fake draw. Flag is down. Montana trying to get the screen back to Roger Craig. The Vikings very opportunistic. They read that beautifully. Again, flags are down at the line of scrimmage. What would you tell Wendell Tyler? How they will change?
You know, I always felt a coach.
Different?
I feel a coach can't say anything to a back, because once you get him thinking about it, he's going to do it more. I think when Bill Walsh got Wendell Tyler was a fumbler in college. He's a fumbler in pro ball, but he gives you a lot of big plays, and it's pretty much what you see is what you get, you know. But when you start to, when I fumbled, I came to the sideline. I didn't want anybody to say anything to me. Not at all.
Offside, 79, still 2nd down.
Doug Martin outside. Down remains the same. It'll be 2nd down along 2.
Of course, you never fumbled, did you, Frank?
Yeah, they tried to change me. I carried it in one hand just like Tyler.
Who never fumbled? Ask him about the sudden death playoff game.
Oh, you and your memory. Freddie Sullivan in motion. Tyler breaks a tackle, gets the 1st down. Now, did you see Willie Teal tackling the ball? If we could maybe get a replay of that, you'll see it. And Willie Teal went for the ball, not Wendell Tyler.
Well, you'll see Wendell. First of all, this is why Wendell is so good. Look how quick he reads it. On McNeil's block, he gets upfield, he gets a lot of yards, breaks the tackle there.
Look at him pulling
for another, going after the ball.
Willie Teal trying to pull it out of there, but Tyler gets the 1st down on the Minnesota side of the 50. Montana wide open is Nehemiah. And Skeets gets the 1st down. Good reception, good pattern by Nehemiah.
Interesting thing about Skeets, he is, of course, a remarkable young man. He doesn't even want to talk about track and field anymore. Well, he was the greatest in the world at what he did. There's the pattern.
Well, that pattern was all speed. You see the defensive back turned around immediately and was running away only because of respecting Nehemiah's speed. That was almost a gimme pattern for him.
You saw John Swain. He was turning around, heading into a full sprint. The 1st down near the 24-yard line of Minnesota. The Vikings trailing 3-0 as Wendell Tyler now works over the right side behind Randy Cross and Keith Bonhorst.
Juice, why don't you explain how Bill Walsh prepares the team for a game, giving them X number of plays in advance of the game that they must execute and why?
Yeah, well, it's quite unusual. Most teams will come in with a game plan and they'll try to pick on players on the defense. Bill Walsh, he gives the players the day of the game, the first 22 plays of the game, no matter what the situation is. Even if a play doesn't work, he said, don't worry about it, because we want to set up something. We want the defense to see it, so we'll take advantage of it later on in the game.
2nd down and 8 from the 21-yard line. Montana steps inside the pressure. In the end zone, it's Dwight Clark, who just worked along the end zone. And a typical 49er play of 1981. Montana got in trouble. Athletic ability, he got out of trouble. Dwight Clark kept running across the line of sight until he got open. Touchdown, 49ers.
All right, a look at it from the end zone. Juice.
As you see Montana, one of the value the most valuable thing he has is his ability to move around. And he throws to his favorite receiver. You talk about a guy liking a receiver. Do you realize he completed 40% of the third down passes he's completed in the last few years to Dwight Clark? So whenever he's in trouble, the guy he looks for is Dwight Clark, and he did then.
Matt Cavanaugh puts it down for Wershing. Wershing puts it through the uprights, and the 49ers are on top 10-0. 9:35 remaining in the first quarter. Montana goes to Dwight Clark. We'll be back in a moment.
Options. If the middle wasn't open, I think this was his side of the field that he could have ran a post pattern, or he may have been able to run a stop. They do that a lot. They give him the side of the field and say run a post pattern or run a flag pattern, or you can run a stop.
I think on a sure pass down, they probably should have been helping Willie Teal a little bit. He had no help.
Point is that Montana knows how to read those options very well. A great trade of Kramer's. We'll talk about that later.
Kramer will work from the shotgun on first down and 10. Inside handoff. He goes to Ted Brown. Big hole. And Brown gets out over the 25 to the 27, pickup of 7. It'll be second down and 3.
Evidence, Frank, of the kind of dramatic rallies of the past I've been talking about for the Vikes. In 77, Kramer just a rookie. Niners led 24-0, less than 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. Kramer in relief of Bob Lee threw 3 touchdown passes in the fourth quarter. Vikes won it 28-27.
Second down and 3, and of course now Tommy Kramer has the full-time job. He took it over in 79 when Fran Tarkenton retired and is chipping away at Fran's great record. Fired and is complete, goes out for the first down, and it is Terry LeCount who inherited that job when one of the truly great ones, Ahmad Rashad, decided to join our business.
And he's very good at it.
We're going to take a look at the reverse angle as he goes to LeCount. The surprise thing is, interesting thing, in 1979, the last cut of the 49ers, it came down between Terry LeCount, who was a third-round draft choice the year before, and Mr. Dwight Clark. And most of the guys on the team thought they would try to sneak Clark through and keep LeCount. They tried to sneak LeCount through, but Les Steffel, the receiver coach of the Vikings, knew something about him and picked him up.
First down and 10. Minnesota, their own 35-yard line. They're down 10-0 already. Going out to the tight end, Bob Brewer. Is Kramer. He's taken out of bounds, short of the first down. A pickup of 7, and we're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our friends at our local stations around the country identify themselves.
WABC TV, Channel 7, New York.
Tim Irvin, the big right tackle for the Vikings, has limped off the field. He's been replaced by Terry Tausch. This is what Bud Grant talked about this morning. He couldn't do that last year. Tausch was hurt. Brent Boyd was hurt, his backup lineman. But Tausch is a good one. He's in a right tackle. He wears number 66. The second down and 3. The ball at the 41-yard line of the Vikings. Looks to the outside, looks back inside, and he's buried for a loss of a couple near the 39-yard line. It'll be third down and 5. Bobby Leopold in there first for the 49ers.
The 49ers, I think, may have surprised the Vikings a little bit. They've been exclusively a 3-4 team over the last few years, and they started this whole drive playing 4-3. They have 4 down linemen in there, and that's sort of uncharacteristic of them over the last 2 seasons.
A sure pass situation for Minnesota. The 49ers adjust accordingly. They have 6 defensive backs in their lineup. Going short to Brown. He breaks the tackle, has the first down to the 45-yard line. And that's what Teddy Brown does so well.
And that's the whole strength, the real strength offensively of the Vikes. They've got 4, in effect, equal backs. Magnificent as you look the end zone replay at coming out of the backfield.
Well,
go ahead, Jude.
He came out of the backfield. That's what they call a hot pattern. His job normally is to pick up a linebacker. They saw the 49ers were blitzing. Instead of him staying in to pick up the blitz, they say, just go hot. Just turn around the backside of the line, and we'll hit you right on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what they did. They figured they can get the ball to him before the safety can get up the coverage.
A little more than 6.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter. The Vikings down by 10. They're on a drive. This is Brown. Big opening outside. And Ted Brown fights down close to the 35-yard line. He'll be about a yard short of a first down. And now the Vikings have it on the move.
And when you can use those backs interchangeably, except in different situations, Grant will use them. You open up the run just as is the case here. The 4 backs in question, Ted Brown, Darren Nelson, Tony Galbraith, Ricky Young. They'll use Young close to the goal line.
Yeah, what they did there, they took advantage of pillars and being pass rushing. They just ran a little kind of delayed trap play. Actually, it was a draw.
2nd down and 1. Ricky Young is in for Minnesota. He's a good receiver, but they try him with the trap up the middle, and he's picked up quickly and taken there by Ron Ferrari, number 54, who is also seeing duty tonight because, as we've talked about a couple of times already, Tina Turner is out of the lineup. Jack Reynolds unable to play because of a hamstring. Bob Horn, acquired from San Diego a year ago. They wanted to play him on the inside. He has a back injury, so they are in trouble at linebacking position. At that time, it was Ron Ferrari making a good play. 3rd and long 1.
But maybe because of that lack of depth at linebacker right now that they're playing a 4-man down lineman. I know they're not comfortable playing a 4-3.
Ted Brown again gets to a little gap, battles inside the 30 for another Viking first down. Ted Brown starting off with a typical Ted Brown day. He runs the ball, he catches the ball, leading receiver, leading rusher for the past 3 years.
As you can see, they're just running a power play off tackle. Ricky Young normally comes in when they're going to run the ball because he's the best blocker they have in the backfield. And this is one thing you get when you have to play a lot of second unit defensive people. Normally they play second unit because they aren't the best tacklers you got, and the 49ers are doing a little poor tackling right now.
49ers stay in their 4-3. And as A.J. said, they are not comfortable in that. Kramer on first down. Batted away. Trying to get it to Sammy White. Incomplete. Tim Irwin is back in the game now for Minnesota at right tackle. And he's a good one. They need him. He's big, tough. Of course, he took over that job from Ron Yeri a year ago, and he's done a superb job.
But you see that man right there, Dwayne Board. I think he's the most underrated defensive player they got. Their Super Bowl year, he was the only lineman that never left the game. And as an example, over the last 3 years, in the games that he started in, the 49ers have won 19 and lost 4. And the games that he's not been able to play because of injury, they've won 6 and lost 15. So I think he may be the unsung hero of that defense.
And they're 4 men down. Board is on the left side, and Fred Dean on the right side. And 2nd down and 10. And timeout is called by the Minnesota Vikings. Tommy Kramer.
Beat him. See, if that was your name, they would have had gold in there.
10th play of the drive is 2nd down and 10. The ball at the 29-yard line of the 49ers. You're on top. 10-0, 4:24 remaining in the first quarter. Brown in motion. Kramer with a good shot. He had everyone in the pass pattern. He finds Terry LeCount, and LeCount finds the first down marker.
Juice has already told you the story of how LeCount almost outlasted Dwight Clark as we look at the end zone replay. But the point is, everybody's known LeCount's ability. His physical assets is superb. His problem has been consistency, yet he has moments of tremendous excellence. And San Diego will attest to that when he beat them almost single-handedly in a game a year ago.
I think you're going to see a more consistent Terry LeCount now because he knows he's a starter. In the past, he's been a backup.
First down and 10. They have marked it to the 18-yard line. Took 1 tackle, gets a couple of yards, and then drilled back for the 49er defense, who are really playing some inspired football tonight, even though the Vikes are on a drive.
Right there, you saw an evidence of San Francisco intensity that was notably lacking in the game against the Eagles.
Hey, Howard, you're right, because I was in a meeting with the team this morning, and Bill Walsh was pretty vehement, saying he's tired of reading about the Vikings being a passing team and all their pass patterns and all the things about the Vikings, their new defense. He says, hey, we're the passing team here. We're the team that's going to be aggressive.
You're getting booed from the partisan crowd because they thought the play against Brown should have drawn a flag.
Was over-aggressive, that's right. But it's a point I discussed quite candidly with Bill Walsh in the halftime feature piece that I mentioned in the opening of the program. Walsh, a charismatic, beautifully spoken man who isn't afraid to touch on any issue, hit him head on, whether it's about him or his team.
Second down and 8. Brown got a couple of yards. Now he goes in motion, and all the folks are in the pattern for Kramer. And one of them has to be open, and he certainly is. Bobby Leopold there defending against the tight end, Bob Brewer, who's playing with a very sore ankle, but he has to be in there because, as I mentioned earlier, Joe Sensor, their great tight end, is probably gone for the season with knee surgery. I
don't know if they can make up for Sensor. Sensor, in many respects, may be the single most valuable player on the Vikings team. But Brewer, a tough, hard-nosed, and still young player out of Mankato State, where, indeed, the Vikes used to train.
No, but you can tell that the Vikings, being a passing team like 49er players, because they picked up Brewer from the 49ers when they released him the same year they released LeCounte.
Third down and 1. Teddy Brown, Ricky Young is out front, and Brown will get the first down. He wanted the end zone. Flag is down, and it's in an area where we could get a hold.
You know, it's amusing, Frank. They talk about the one-back backfield.
Offside, 49ers.
And they talk about Joe Gibbs and the Redskins and John Riggins. What they don't say as we look at the replay is that how many years ago, Juice, was Bud Grant using the one-back backfield with Chuck Foreman? He does one thing after another.
49, penalty makes it the first down.
Remember that, Frank?
Oh, he's been using it for years.
He's the man who almost took away a game already won by Denver by using the hurry-up 2-minute offense with about 8 minutes to go, a game we had.
And used it against Dallas in our final game last year here. Earl Cooper, the tight end, was offside. First down, goal to go for the Vikings near the 5-yard line. Taken out of bounds inside the 3.
Actually, Frank, on that offside penalty, it was Ronnie Lott, number 42, was offsides, and that's the value of Ronnie. He's a big gambler. You know, he likes to rush in there. He almost made a great play in the backfield. He guess he got a little over anxious. I think as this game goes on, I was talking to Les Stefo today. He said they're going to take advantage of some of his aggressiveness and try to run play-action passes at him. And if you recall at breakfast when we were talking to Coach Grant, he mentioned that if he could take one person away from the 49ers defense, it would be Ronnie Lott.
I can understand that.
Talk about Brown not fumbling. That will be recorded as a fumble, even though it went out of bounds. So that's his first in a long time. Ricky Young, right side. He's short of the goal line, so it will be third down goal to go.
This is where Grant uses Young in a situation close to the goal line. A, blocking, B, receiving, and C, a power runner. I think Bud is just a marvelous coach, Juice.
I do too. I think he said something this week that anytime it's 4th and inches, he's going to go for it. I don't know if that would apply to a field goal versus a touchdown, but if they don't get it on this play, it's going to be interesting to see his decision.
Down 10-0. I think you'll see him go for it. Let's watch. Brown. They won't have to think about it. The Vikings are on the scoreboard. Big drive. 2:16 remaining now in the first quarter. They used a lot of time. And it was pure Minnesota Viking offense. A dink here and a dink there. Brown left, Brown up the middle.
A brick here and a brick there. Yes, right. Indeed. I've heard that. But I told you we expected a highly competitive game.
Benny Ricardo on for the conversion. Steve Dills, a backup quarterback. He's the quarterback for Bill Walsh out of Stanford University. Will put it down, which he does smartly. And Ricardo, who has been perfect thus far this season for the Vikings, having arrived very late, makes it 10-7. The Vikings trail by 3. Given up somewhat. 15 plays they use on that drive. Dana McLemore Number 43, and Carl Monroe, a rookie free agent out of Utah, had dropped for the 49ers. And here is Vinny Ricardo with Detroit, New Orleans, Buffalo, right out with San Diego. The WFL Suns had a year off last year. McLemore. And McLemore just outmoved himself that time. He had an opening, didn't take it, ran into his own man. Down he went. Randy Holloway making certain that he was down. I want to remind you, coming up on Saturday, college football, and it's at its finest in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Tiger Stadium. It'll be Florida State, led by the nation's leading scorer in 1982, Greg Allen. They were 8-3-0 last year, ranked number 7 by the UPI. They go against LSU. Two top running backs in Dalton Hilliard and Gary James. That's 3 o'clock live Eastern Saturday college football. Other regional games. Check the listing for the game you'll see in your area. Most of you will see Florida State and LSU. First down and 10. Montana, Dwight Clark. Clark, first down, out over the 40-yard line between two defenders, gets the first down.
What a beautifully thrown ball.
He's shaking
White
up.
may be hurt. Slow getting up, as you can see. Might have fallen on the ball. Whatever. Dana McLemore might have broken that kickoff, but Eason Ransom, number 80, couldn't block his man out and thus got in the way of McLemore.
Well, it's hard to tell where he got hurt, but on that play, you saw a great pass by Montana, and one of the reasons why Walsh decided to keep Clark opposed to LeCount, his height, his size. That ball would have been overthrown if it was Terry in there.
He was holding his left arm, Dwight Clark, as he settled in on the bench. He's out of the lineup now. Mike Wilson, third-year man from Washington State, has replaced Clark. First down and 10, 43-yard line. Wendell Tyler, look out. He is exciting. There are no flags, and Wendell Tyler inside the 20, down around the 17-yard line before John Swain finally collars him.
Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is why you get a back like Wendell Tyler. He doesn't have to gain another yard. It's sort of a counter up the middle. It's about a 30-fold.
What, blocking?
But look, it's two broken tackles, and he just about runs away from the third guy. Now, Wendell Tyler now, he doesn't have to gain another yard for the rest of the game. The defense is aware of him now.
Even then, did you see where that ball was?
That's a longer run than any 49er back had all last year. Your point is well taken. They'll be looking for Tyler the rest of the game.
On the 18-yard line, this is Roger Craig, the rookie from Nebraska. They like him a lot. They got him in the second round. A tailback and a fullback in Nebraska. Hurt for 3 games a year ago, so they were able to get him in the second round. And he has come in with a lot of poise. He seems to pick up everything very quickly, and he may turn into another effective runner for the 49ers, who had none last year.
Walsh views Roger Craig as the type of player that he wanted to draft number 1, which he openly confessed to me on SportsBeat. He won the draft Craig James of SMU, who went to the Washington Feds.
Craig got 3. It's second down and 7. The ball near the 15. Montana looking for the touchdown to Freddie Solomon, and Solomon picked up and covered very nicely. John Swain was there.
It was interesting. They sort of bumped into each other. I was looking for a flag. It really wasn't Swain's position. As you can see, Solomon wants to run an in pattern. He goes in. Swain is there first. See, normally you can get a flag on that, say he bumped him, but Swain had position.
He could have caught a flag very easily. He could only make contact within 5 yards.
5 yards, exactly.
Yeah, but he didn't make contact. He had position, and Freddie really ran into him.
Third down and 7. Montana dinks it off to Tyler, and Tyler gives it up. They're doing it incomplete. Tyler hit hard, and the official standing right in front of it said no, that he did not have control of it.
And Tyler was the first guy to jump up and signal incomplete pass.
Naturally. He would have been broken psychologically, possibly, if that had been ruled a fumble, and for the second game in a row, he had been victimized by a fumble in an important situation.
Hey, Howard, if he would have been broken psychologically, he'd have been in the nut house a long time ago.
At UCLA. 38-yard field goal made by Wersching, got the scoring underway. This will be an attempt from 32 yards, and Montana will be the holder. Wershing now 2 for 2. He has hit from 38. He's hit from 32. And the Vikings pull out by 3, 13-7 with 36 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
A real nice 20-point first quarter. And somehow I think we're just in the preliminary here.
Let's watch this from the reverse angle. That pass earlier to Tyler. Montana again, great athlete, under pressure. Gets it off to Tyler, and he's hit almost as he tries to put the ball away. And a good contact made by Keith Lord, and a close call it was.
Close call. It didn't really look like he had...
Let me tell you something, my old friend. He's in a new city. He wants desperately to make good with new teammates and tremendous pressures on the coach of
Been tough on San Francisco. Howard mentioned the game back in 77, 3 touchdown passes. 79, he also beat them 28-22 and had a great day. On first down. Kramer tries to get it out to Ted Brown. Incomplete.
Actually, if the officials were watching, Darren Nelson just tried an illegal block on Fred Dean. He lined up in the little slot back position, and he tried to cut Fred Dean. We used to call it a drift block, as Fred Dean was rushing the quarterback from the outside. And a lot of guys have gotten injured very badly from that. Defensive ends will get knee injuries, and it's now an illegal block. I'm sure Fred Dean must have mentioned something to the official to watch that.
That's one of the best rules that they changed about 3 or 4 years ago, because that end is really vulnerable. He's concentrating on the quarterback, and the little man coming back can really tear up a knee. Second down and 10. Nelson bobbles it. Picked up by the 49ers. The 49ers have it back. Good play by Dwight Hicks. Very alert, but Nelson, whether he fumbled it in the exchange, I don't know. But he coughed it up, and coming up with it was Dwight Hicks. We'll see it from the other side with a reverse field camera.
Looks like they're trying to run another one of their misdirection plays here. He never got the handoff. The ball was put in there real well. I mean, he placed the ball right on the belly button, and Darren just couldn't get control of it.
First down and 10. The 49ers, good field position near the 21-yard line. And they're on top, 13-7. Roger Craig, right side, and Craig, good strong running, gets down close to the 16-yard line for a gain of 5. It'll be second down and 5. Tommy Hannon and Matt Blair there defensively for Minnesota.
Good quick example there of how Craig accelerates.
Yeah, and we're looking at Russ Francis leave the field. His arm, I guess he's re-injured his wrist, and he's leaving the field. As you can see there.
I think it's his other hand, isn't it? He broke his left hand early in preseason. He's holding his right hand now. That compounds his problem. We'll be back in a moment. Last Saturday, 22-17. Meanwhile, Minnesota is beating Cleveland 27-21 on Sunday. The 49ers on a drive following the fumble by Nelson. They have a second down and 4. The ball at the 16-yard line of the Vikings. Inside handoff, Roger Craig. And Craig booms out to what appears to be first down yardage. And we'll take a look at the numbers from the first quarter.
Okay, first downs. 1 down edge to San Francisco. Rushing yards, notice, a big edge for San Francisco. They'll like to see that. They're heading passing. Total yards, Minnesota 1 turnover, which has resulted in the present San Francisco position on the field, threatening the score again. Good football game, too.
Progress of Roger Craig, a yard short of the first down, so it'll be third in short yardage. And the teams bring out their personnel accordingly. Cooper, the tight end, in motion. And Craig, again, caught in the surge. Again, it will be dependent upon where they mark it. Wendell Tyler indicates that Craig picked up the first down, but I think we're going to have a measurement.
Yeah, Craig was running what they call a 30-fold, a little trap inside. Got a good block from Randy Cross, trapping on the backer. I guess he trapped on Mark Mulaney, and maybe it was Dennis Johnson standing up there. And it looked as if when he was carrying the ball, he had a little more yardage than that.
Craig will get the first down and keep the 49ers drive alive. Roger Craig, the 4th leading rusher in the history of Nebraska football with over 2,400 yards. And still the 49ers able to get him in the second round.
They turn out great backs, Frank. I remember when Shula sent Carl Tasep out to scout Nebraska. Everybody wanted him to look at Jarvis Redwine, and he said, I want Andrew Franklin.
He's turned into a great one. 1st and 10. Tyler, he'll be tough to handle there. Good open field tackle by Tommy Hannon. Tyler is one of the most elusive backs you will ever see in an open field. Hannon handled him short of what could be a first down at the 1-yard line.
Actually, they started this play from split backs. They put Tyler in motion, which really, in effect, gave him a one-back offense. And he just ran a little flat out there and caught the ball in the flat and made a real nice move on the corner.
He really handles that ball with one hand a little frighteningly. You saw that, Juice.
Yeah, but if you take it away from him, he may not be the runner that he is, you know, if he's comfortable running that way.
Second down and about 2 for the first down. 3 to the end zone. And Craig hit hard. Taken back. Fred McNeil was there and Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson putting the key shot on. And he is stopped inside the 3-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and a yard for a first down.
He doesn't want to have
for the touchdown.
I'm sorry, Giff. He doesn't want to have to settle Bill Walsh for still another field goal. You've got to capitalize to the uttermost, as Washington learned against Dallas.
Play action, and what a good call that was. Going to Earl Cooper in the end zone on a 3rd down and 1. Both Tyler and Craig boomed into the middle. Montana hit the ball and found Earl Cooper all alone.
And as Earl Cooper found a home, you know, they moved. He was their former #1 draft choice as a fullback. They moved him to tight end last week. He had a 73-yard touchdown catch and run. And you know, he's a 4-5 sprinter. And when he was playing fullback, he never looked like he was a 4-5 sprinter. At tight end, he looks
what
like
he
a 4-5
is. He's
sprinter.
in the vein of the modern-day tight end, a deep threat. The kick good.
Wersching puts it through the uprights, and the 49ers move it out to 20-7 over the Vikings. They are going to have a lot of points on the scoreboard before the night is over.
Tonight, a sprinter goes from Olympic gold to NFL.
49ers with Montana to Cooper. And a good call it was. From the 2-yard line, they needed 1 for the first down. Play action. Cooper all alone in the end zone. Deep are Jarvis Redwine and Darren Nelson. Redwine 22, Nelson 20. Set to kick off is Ray Wersching. Short kick this time, and the Vikings will have an opportunity to return. It'll be Darren Nelson. There's an opening.
Goodbye.
Darren Nelson to midfield before he's taken by Ronnie Lott. He saw that little gap, the wedge breaker, and he really turned it on.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. You know, you got to give Darren Nelson a lot of credit, but on this play, you got to give the whole return unit credit, because look at the wall they got for him out there. That just opened up beautiful, but that's the danger of kicking the ball short.
That's one thing. The other thing now is the excellence of the play of both special teams. McLemore set San Francisco up early on with a brilliant kick run, and right there Nelson did the same. So now the Vikes are positioned to score again, and Giff is ready to get out the Monday night record book.
48-yard line of the 49ers. Darren Nelson, 40-yard return. Brewer in motion. Kramer, a picked off. Beautiful interception by Eric Wright, stepping right in front of Terry LeBron. To take it in, and there are no flags. Great timing by Eric Wright. It could not have been better. Sideline, beautifully thrown ball. He timed it out beautifully.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to be late getting there, and he took a gamble, because if he wouldn't have intercepted the ball, it would have been a touchdown the other way. 49ers are fired up.
Matter of fact, weren't you with me when we were talking to Eric's brother? Eric, of course, went to Missouri, and Eric's brother, in talking with Juice and me, as you look at it from the end zone, look at the way he had positioned himself. Kept his balance, and look at that. Just stayed within the sideline, cut back beautifully behind the block, and all the way in for the score.
Howard telling it like it is. It was not a good thrown pass. It was a poorly thrown pass. It was behind the count. He was open. The ball was thrown a little behind him.
Wersching for the conversion. And Eric Wright has scored his first professional touchdown. And the 49ers are on a roll. They lead 27-7, 12-13 remaining in the half. Ray Wersching was teeing it up, and it was only a few moments ago. But Tommy Kramer had it picked off by Eric Wright. Here's the third-year man out of Missouri.
Coach, you watch how he tiptoed down the line there?
Marvelous display of balance. Spectacular. Even if you're right that the ball was poorly thrown.
Wersching, this time into the end zone. Here comes Redwine. Redwine out to about the 24-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10.
Let's take it. You see LeCount, he looks like he's running an out. And right here, if the ball was thrown in front of him towards the sidelines, you see the ball was thrown behind him. And here's where Wright showed a lot of athletic ability. Most guys would have ran out of bounds, and if you let it go a little further, you'll see tightrope down the sideline and did a good job.
I think LeCount thought he had caught that ball. It was that close. Near the 25-yard line, first down and 10. Shaping up a little like last Monday night. The Redskins had a 23-3 lead over Dallas. The Vikings are going to be on the scoreboard. I can guarantee you that. Or maybe I should.
Yeah.
Kramer, Brown does not hold on. A flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Kramer goes right back to throwing. That kid's unafraid. One of his greatest qualities.
Well, I think what we're seeing a little bit at this point, if I could hold him, Kennedy.
Yeah, that's going to hurt him at this point on the field.
What we're seeing at this point may be the value of an Ahmad Rashad. You know, they've changed their offense somewhat. Without Ahmad, where Sammy White was generally their home run hitter, and Ahmad Rashad was their
66. Still first down.
And Ahmad Rashad was their possession receiver. This year they've made Sammy White their possession receiver. He may not be comfortable with that, and even though they've been throwing more, I guess throwing the count right now, but their offense looked a little in disarray at this point.
Terry Couch was holding. 10-yard assessment, first down and 20. The bar near the 15-yard line. Screen to Brown, who tripped over a 49er, lost his balance, and couldn't handle the reception. But it'll be second down and 20.
Crowd's beginning to get on the Vikes, but they'll change on a moment's notice, riding an elevator of momentary emotion.
Tommy Kramer, of course, had some well-documented personal problems a couple of years ago. He really bounced back and had a tremendous year a year ago, with 57% of his passes being completed, 15 touchdowns. That was only 2 less than the leaders. And the leaders were Montana, the 49ers, and Fouts in San Diego. They had 17. On second down and 20. Throws, and Ronnie Lott will pick it off.
Now that was a bad throw. Terrible.
Ronnie Lott picks it off. The ball was intended for Terry LeCount, underthrown by about 5 yards.
I think he misjudged Ronnie's leaping ability. Ronnie Lott was trying to get into the end zone, looked like a halfback once he got the ball. He's scored 4 touchdowns already in his short career on interceptions. Ronnie got up there pretty good. Ronnie was an all-league basketball player 2 years in a row. And a pretty good runner, as you can see there.
And tackles like a linebacker. He can do it all at that corner. The first and 10 is near the 19-yard line. The flags are everywhere.
Looked like Big Russ Francis is back in there and either missed the count or was a little too anxious.
I'll tell you, Russ is, despite the broken hand and the injury sustained earlier on tonight, he's in the best shape I have seen him in, Juice, in all the years I've known him, before I made him all-world.
I was going to say, would you still call him all-world?
No, I wouldn't.
81, 5 yards, still first down.
Kellen Winslow now, of course. But Russ is in absolutely superb shape. With that tremendous body, he looks absolutely trim. Built like an earlier on Gifford.
First and 15 at the 19-yard line. Tyler, big opening left side. He is hammered at the 15. Studwell came up there.
That's the value of Wendell Tyler. He makes the offensive line look well, even if they don't block well at the point of attack. That play was designed to go inside, and as he was coming across, he saw a hole to his left, and he just shot over there. Got positive yards.
Picked up 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 11, and Ronaldo Nehemiah comes in. Freddie Solomon goes to the sidelines, and Nehemiah will work to one of the flank spots out of the backfield, I would presume. Tyler now 60 yards on 5 carries. Nehemiah in motion. Montana looking for Nehemiah. He ran a little lazy pattern against John Swain and then put on a burst of speed, but Swain was right with him all the way. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
Here's on ISO. We see Nehemiah coming out.
He tried to make Swain go to sleep on this, O.J.
Yeah. I think because of the defense, he didn't think he was going to be the primary receiver, because when you should burst out of that, out of the pattern. When you make your move, you should burst, and he didn't burst. But on that play, I'll show you how valuable Wendell Tyler is. He ran a little button hook over the middle and had 3 guys on him.
3rd down and 11. The corner of the end zone, and it is Freddie Solomon diving catch, touchdown 49ers, and they are really on a roll tonight.
They are.
Flag is down at the 5-yard line. This one could come back.
Pushing off.
Holding 27, defense declined, touchdown.
Touchdown 49ers. John Turner was holding and obviously declined. Great catch by Solomon.
That's Solomon. Oh, yeah.
Oh, was he? Oh. They call that a wardrobe foul. Almost tore the numbers off him.
At this point in the game, San Francisco is serving notice that the Niners are back at this point.
Well, they look like the Super Bowl team they were a few years ago.
Wersching hammers it through the uprights. And the 49ers now lead 34-7, and we still have almost 11 minutes remaining in the first half. Woo. Like a pin in the end zone, and the 49ers are lighting up the lights tonight.
Well, if the Vikings are going to have any chance to come back, they're going to get this first half over.
Redwine and Nelson are both deep once again. Wersching dribbles it along the ground, is taken there by Jarvis Redwine. And following that 40-yard return by Darren Nelson, Wersching apparently was advised not to kick away. He took a little squibble on the ground, and Redwine was able to work it up to the 32-yard line. And out comes Tommy Kramer, and Howard was so right a while ago. The guy is really cool. He's not going to let an interception, a poorly thrown pass as it was, and picked off by Ronnie Lott to set up the touchdown. He's not going to let that bother him.
And Bud Grant has the earphones on. Jerry Burns, a brilliant offensive mind. The coach up in the booth, and Ahmad Rashad says, forget the earphones. Bud doesn't listen to anybody.
Brown, the single setback for Minnesota. Kramer, a typical Minnesota Viking completion to Bob Brewer. They know he'll be covered, but maybe he'll break it. And it was Joe Sensor for the past 3 years who has been breaking those tackles.
Yeah, what I think they're doing now, instead of trying to get it all at once, they have to just score, period. And what they're trying to do is put a good drive together and just get downfield and score.
2nd and 5. Here's Brown. And swarming coverage by the 49ers. Brown short of the first down, are at the 41-yard line.
Yeah, they are.
They're in a 2-minute or hurry-up offense right now.
What they are doing, they are trying to keep the 49ers from changing their personnel, and they will not go into the huddle and let the 49ers change the personnel. They did it against Dallas here a year ago. 3rd down and 1. Kramer, and he had a man wide open, Sammy White.
Let me tell you what they just did that time, Frank. It was a beautiful play. Sammy White, because they weren't able to change personnel, was stuck with Fred Dean trying to cover him. And he beat Fred Dean at the line of scrimmage. And so it sort of paid off what Grant was trying to do. But once again, they weren't able to make the completion.
Kramer knew he had him for not only the first down, but maybe big yardage. And it brings up 4th down. Greg Coleman on for his first punt of the night. And Freddie Solomon is dropped for the 49ers.
Can you imagine Fred Dean covering Sammy White?
Yeah. Tommy Kramer could not believe it. Long count, looking for the offside, doesn't get it. Powering punt by Coleman. Fair catch called for, executed, 18-yard line. And the 49ers will begin play there. They're up on top 34-7 with 9:42 remaining in the half. Yeah, we're going to have a busy 8 days.
On the Jewel Thomas option pass to Carlos Carson.
On first down, Montana hands the ball off. And Tyler is greeted rather abruptly by Dennis Johnson. And he'll lose a yard on that.
Well, Dennis tagged him on the goal line one time. And
I like this indoor atmosphere.
I like it.
Quickly after you come out of Washington, where we had temperatures of about 90 degrees down there.
Yeah. Washington behind closed doors.
The loss was inside the 13. Second down and 11. Montana looks it over. With a short handoff out of the I formation to Roger Craig, and the Vikings swarm all over it. 34-7. The 49ers on top of the Vikings.
Highest scoring game in the history of Monday Night Football last December 20th. Giff and I remember it well. Chargers 50, Bengals 34, total of 84 points. We're going for it tonight.
What 49ers look like they're doing now is trying to eat up time on the clock. Sometimes that can be a mistake, especially in light of Monday night's game.
Third down and 11. Montana on the rollout. No, taken out of bounds by Freddie Solomon, very close. But there will be no reception, and we'll see the punting unit of the 49ers.
Now, what's going to be interesting right now, here's the pass from the end zone. Freddie looked like he had a good chance of getting it. Maybe his foot got out of bounds.
Thought it was.
His foot sort of went out of bounds. What's going to be interesting now is Bud Grant did a smart thing on the last drive. He went to a hurry-up offense. He tried to create a mismatch. He got a mismatch, and it's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers counteract that on this next series of downs, if they try it again.
Tom Orris, acquired from Miami in the offseason. And Miami picked up Reggie Roby, a great punter, and Orris hammers one to Rufus Best, who takes it at his own 35-yard line. And Best up to the 43-yard line, so Bud Grant's Vikings will have good field position. Eric,
wasn't it, Deuce?
Yes, he thought he was a good, aggressive football player, and
said he was the best athlete on his team. Athlete.
Just having a little trouble moving out the starters, but you can see he's been a rancher once.
Let's hear Jim Tunney.
Encroachment, defense, 5 yards, still second down.
I think what they were trying to say was that they were trying to get somebody's ear to call timeout because they had 12 men on the field. 5 yards marked off for encroachment. Second down and 4. The ball near the 18-yard line. Tyler still on his feet. He got out of the grasp of Charlie Johnson and got up close to a first down. He says he has it.
Joey Browner's problem, we're told, is with his left ankle. How serious? Of course, we don't know yet, nor does the bench. They're taping it up. Look at that. 8 yards per carry, the average for Tyler so far.
As we were saying earlier, if you look at all your all-pro offensive linemen, most of them play for teams that run the ball well, and the 49ers offensive line know they're not going to get the respect they deserve until they just stop getting criticized for not being able to block for the run.
Tyler's effort got the first down at the 23-yard line. Montana, he goes down, and a flag goes down with him. It was Matt Blair, the multiple all-pro outside linebacker who was all over Montana, and the 49ers also picked up a holding call. The sack will just about take care of the distance they would have got.
Holding 51, decline, second down.
So consequently, the holding is declined by the Vikings, and it'll be second down at about 16. The ball marked inside the 17-yard line. 34-7. The 49ers on top of the Vikings, and the Vikings are beginning to show a little more hustle, a little more pursuit. Both teams obviously able to score almost at will over the past few years with the passing game. He's out to the 22-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 12 for Montana, as Matt Blair was right there with Dwight Clark.
Well, Tommy Kramer, Coach Allwigs.
9 of 19, 2 interceptions. He, you know, I know he just wants to get back in there and start throwing the ball a little bit. Really nothing you can say about a day like that. You have your bad days, and that's why he's having a bad day.
49ers in Montana with 5 years. They were a very smart, heady quarterback. He's not going to get the interception if he can avoid it. He'll take the shot at it, but he'll be very careful where he puts it. Dumps it off, intended for Tyler. Overthrown. Tyler does not handle it.
I don't blame Montana for that. He was under terrible pressure and indeed was touched by one of the pass rushers as he sought to release the ball, and thus the errant throw of possession.
Here's Rufus Best. They would never let him. Uh-oh. This is going to pick up a 1st down. Orris bobbled the ball, saw that he couldn't get the punt off, and he sprints down the sidelines, and that is not his bag, but he gets the 1st down and gets hammered in the process out around the 45-yard line.
And they did one super job of it. Normally, if it's a bad snap, the punter calls fire, and he must have yelled fire because the whole offensive line, they didn't have to look around and see if he was running. Look at the ball skips to him. You'll see the whole left side of the 49er offensive line wastes no time.
Randy Cross, the center, gets it low.
He's yelling fire, fire right now. You can see John Ayers and the guys, they never looked back. They took off that way.
What's interesting, this is one of those nights, at least thus far. That ball bounced right up into Tommy's hands, and thus he was able, as you said, to yell fire and take off.
Thus far, the 49ers should be in Vegas or Atlantic City. They are on a roll. Montana wants a bundle, going it deep, and taken by Mike Wilson, 3rd-year man out of Washington State. And it'll be marked at the 7-yard line.
Let me tell you what a difficult catch that was. It really wasn't one of the better thrown balls Montana has thrown. He was looking for the ball over his right shoulder. Montana threw it over the left shoulder, and what an adjustment to the ball there. As you can see, he's got his man almost beat. Montana gets the ball up right away. He's looking over his right shoulder, and look at this. Look at this adjustment to the ball.
Yeah, that's just concentration, keeping your eye on the ball.
What a difference that bounce made.
Free agent in 81 after being cut by Dallas. Mike Wilson has been playing in the shadow of Dwight Clark. Spectacular catch. Linda Tyler's in the corner of the end zone, touchdown. Dwight Clark worked inside. Tyler, using him almost like a basketball pick, got to the outside, and Montana was right on target, and Tom Orris should get an assist on this touchdown.
Let's take an end zone look at it. He just beat him. He was running a flag pattern. You can't see him on your screen, but you'll see him right there at the right side of your screen. He just plain beat his man.
That was a beautifully thrown ball. He beat Cherna.
More lights on the scoreboard. Wersching. He'll be exhausted at this rate. Montana gets it down. Wersching gets it to the uprights. We have 4:45 remaining in the 1st half. 41-7, San Francisco over a pickup of about 1.
Yeah, here's a problem with getting far behind and trying to break it on one run. Tony should have stayed outside. He would have got 7 or 8 yards. He had no blocking, but he tried to cut inside one guy and pick up some blocking to go all the way and ended up with nothing.
Hurry up offense once again. 2nd down and 9. Kramer will be sacked, and he's back at the 15-yard line as Pete Kugler was there, the big nose tackle. Pete Kugler, an offensive lineman when he came to the 49ers, but he had played both offense and defense for Joe Paterno of Penn State.
Larry Pillars, of course, a former Jet who played very well for the Jets, but with the kind of talent they just had no place for him.
Those are the unhappy numbers for Tommy Kramer. 3rd down 19. 4 down lineman for the 49ers. Kramer gets a bunch of it to Leo Lewis, who was taken out of bounds short of the 1st down at the 29-yard line. Kramer wanted to continue with the offense on 4th down, but it's a little too early in the game for that. 3:35 remaining in the half. And out comes the punter, Greg Coleman. So the Green Bay Packers mark of 45 points in 1/2 back in '67 is in definite jeopardy. Freddie Solomon back for the 49ers. Another low snap, but Coleman picks it up, gets it off. Solomon does not have to fair catch this one. He's got a line setting up for him. And he is taken there by number 58. That's Walker Lee Ashley, a linebacking rookie out of Penn State that they're very high on here. And it'll be first down for the 49ers. NCAA Tiger Stadium. And they'll be back this Saturday. 49ers, 28 points here in the second quarter, and they're looking for more. Montana goes down. Mark Mullaney defensively for the Vikings. There's Mullaney. He used to play over the left side. They moved him over to the right. They put Doug Martin on the left, and the sacks started rolling in.
I think the 49ers came into this game obviously emotionally up. They lost the game last week that almost to the man they felt they should have won. And I think what they're doing now, they're just a little flat. You know, you come up emotional. I think the biggest problem that they're going to have in the second half is to come out and play emotional football.
To retain the intensity that they finally are showing the coach tonight.
Second down and long, draw play, good time to call it, and Roger Craig makes the most of it to the 41-yard line. Gain of about 8 yards. It's going to be third down and 8.
Their biggest problem coming out in the second half is going to be defensively. They have so many injuries that most of their second unit is already playing. And when you get emotionally up for a game, you get way ahead like they are now. You always have the danger by not being alert in the second half and more injuries.
With a 34-point lead, I don't consider their problems comparable to the Vikings.
What a beautiful problem.
Well, if they have a problem, it's going to be to try to not get hurt in the second half. It's hard to be emotional in a game like this.
Third down and 8, 41-yard line. They'll keep it on the ground. Wendell Tyler, right side. Tyler breaks tackles, but he'll be short of the first down as he moves up to the 47-yard line. And we're looking for the 2-minute warning, and we'll get it right now. Actually, it really is, but if it gets a lot of snow on it, they've had a few problems in the past. Tom Orrs to kick off to Rufus Bess, who holds one distinction of having returned the only NFL punt in the history of Wembley Stadium in London against the Cardinals in preseason this year. He went 76 yards. Orrs does not get it to turn over, and Bess calls for and makes the fair catch at the 15-yard line. 1:53 now, as a smattering of boos will greet Tommy Kramer coming back into the lineup.
Vikes have 2 timeouts remaining. Remember, Tommy didn't like what he saw at one point in the first half. He called a timeout.
You know, Howard, I would say something that's interesting to me. You know, the Vikings did complain a little bit about the scheduling. Well, I found it real surprising yesterday. The day before a game with only 3 days between games, they were on the field for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we were both there.
First and 10. Kramer will go up on top. Drills it in to Tony Galbraith, short of the first down, out to the 32, and we will not see a huddle here. There was a gain of 7. It'll be second down and 3.
I make that point for in the normal course of events, most teams around the league, the day before a game, they practice about 45 minutes.
And move right on back to rest.
Brewer, he'll have the first down. And again, we will not see a huddle. Bobby Leopold made the stop. And the Vikings have 2 timeouts, but they're going to have to do a little more than that to get it into the end zone. 1:15, the clock moving. Brewer again, or rather Galbraith out of the backfield. 7-yard pickup. Now, if Kramer stays with the pattern, he'll go back to Brewer on the right side.
I think they'll call a timeout maybe after this pass, but they're going to have to do something quick to get them over the 50.
49ers, 6 defensive backs. Back to Galbraith, gets the first down, but now there are only 45 seconds remaining in the half.
If they stay in this pattern, they'll reach the Niners' 30-yard line.
It'll look good on the NFL stats, though.
I'm surprised they didn't call timeout and call 2 or 3 plays at once.
to Leo Lewis. Lost it for a moment, but he comes down with it.
Well, now you got to use the timeout.
Mark it as another first down as they put it inside the 48-yard line. 10, 23 seconds on the clock. It starts. Kramer gets it into Leo Lewis, and they're going to keep the clock moving. Lewis was in the grasp of Tim Collier. Fine defensive free agent 49ers acquired last year.
Well, I said with this pattern they'd reached the 30-yard line. They're not quite there yet. They're at the 34.
Well, that was a good call by the official because Leo Lewis's forward progress had been stopped even before he went out of bounds. You know, Leo Lewis's father played not only with Bud Grant in Canada, but Bud Grant coached him. And Bud Grant said today he was the finest player he ever coached.
Yep. He's a legend up in Canada. He played for the Winnipeg Bombers under Bud. He was also a great basketball player, Leo Lewis's father. And the youngster is cutting the mold of the father, according to Grant.
Yeah, Bud
little problem now for the Vikings. They'd like to get at least something on the scoreboard, but Benny Ricardo, whom they brought in when Rick Danmeyer had surgery on his back about 10 days ago, does not kick the ball very far. His longest kick in all the years and all the teams that he traveled with was 48 yards. So they're going to have to move it in a little closer for this man, Benny Ricardo. As he said when he arrived, he's got a great sense of humor. He said, I kick the ball, I get the check.
I'd be surprised if they went for a field goal. They'll get booed they're going to get booed anyway, but I think they got to throw it in the end zone.
One timeout remaining.
This is the Ahmad Rashad special they're lining up for here.
Correction, no timeout remain now for the Vikings. Lewis will have to get out of bounds, and he does. Good effort.
It certainly was.
That was a good play. If you recall, in one big game, Ahmad Rashad, they lined up like that. The three guys went downfield. Two of the guys' job is to jump up and bat the ball. Try to bat the ball to the third guy who was to wait around and look for it. But what they did is they did a little variation off it. And they had one of the guys
killed Cleveland one game with that play, winning the game.
Let's take a look at it from the end zone because this one's going to go up in the air. 8 seconds remaining and no timeouts. So if it's a short pass that's completed, time could very well expire. Hang it up. They look for the completion of the penalty. And they got neither one at 2 seconds now on the clock.
Now there's a choice. You like to get at least 3 on the board, Juice. I disagree with you.
I think he has to go for 7 now. I think they got to go in the locker room feeling that they can score 7, and evidently, I'm wrong.
You are? I knew you were. Ricardo is a funny kid, you know, Frank. He's a rabid boxing fan, and he said to me today, what do you think will happen to Duran in the Hagler fight? I said, if the good Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, he'll go 2 rounds.
33-yard attempt. And Ricardo puts 3 on the scoreboard. So now the Vikings only trail by 31. And we're at halftime. Benny Ricardo did his job. We'll be back with a halftime features featuring this man, Bill Walsh, in just a moment.
This guy with all the wins that he has.
Now you're saying
can't help.
You're right about that, Juice.
I certainly couldn't help.
Been to the Super Bowl 4 different times. 11 divisional titles as Ray Wersching bangs it deep to Redwine, who will bring it out. Why not when you're trailing by this much? And Redwine with a good effort out over the 25, close to the 28-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings. Here's the quarterback, Ted Brown, single setback. That's Sammy White in motion. Kramer has Brown wide open over the middle. Tough to bring down one-on-one, but the tackle executed by Jervis, the tight safety. But not until Brown gets the first down, and a 49er is shaken up. Now that's what getting up is Ron Ferrari, and that is one position the 49ers can ill afford to lose another player.
And that's the very point that Juice made. Give him his due. Gift, don't take it away from him in the first half.
What did I say?
The first half, I said the biggest problem the 49ers would have would be coming out in the second half because they're so thin defensively, not being emotional and getting guys hurt. Of course, Howard is putting it all on you now, Gift, but he was on my case, too, about the 49ers.
Back in just a couple of weeks.
First down and 10. Ball near the 41-yard line. Ted Brown got the first down. That's Brown in motion. Kramer with the blitz on gets it out to Brewer, and Brewer struggles up close to another first down. They'll mark it just short, right at midfield.
Speaking of Carlton Williamson, the guy that Brewer beat on that pattern was Rick Gervais, his substitution. The guy the 49ers cut twice in '82, but he kept hanging around. He made a big tackle in the Super Bowl. He caused a fumble.
Again, hurry-up offense, and in and out of the hands of Darren Nelson. That would have been a first down, incomplete. Gervais picking up Nelson, but it was a pass that should have been caught, and Tommy Kramer and Darren Nelson both realized that.
If there is to be any vestige of hope for the Vikes, they've got to score quickly and start to get some confidence back and some intensity and enthusiasm.
Well, we just saw what we know is an excellent football player drop a pass. We saw Sammy White drop a pass earlier. I don't think it's because they don't have the talent out there. I think there's a little out of sync, which is a sign that they just may be a tired football team.
Third down, 1. Ricky Young is in there to block for this man, Ted Brown, who explodes over the right side for the first down inside the 47. And Ferrari now they're working on the ankle, which is another good sign. Ankles over knees anytime.
I don't think it's imperative for him to hustle back into this game, so they may rest him a little bit.
Kramer looks over the 49ers, who are now in their 3-4. They spend much of the first half in a 4-3 defense. Brown is in motion. All the people are in the pattern, and Fred Dean is in the backfield, and he'll get the sack of Tommy Kramer. Chased him out of the pocket, pursued him, and got him.
Well, what Fred Dean did, he lined up as a linebacker over on the right side of the defense, and the Vikes went to a no-back offense. The one back they had back there, they put him in motion, and Fred just fired in there.
We suggested in the first half that the viewers look for that Dean would be used some degree in the manner that Shula and Arnsparger used A.J. Jewett.
Yes.
Second down and 20. Another good time for a blitz, but the 49ers drop into a 4-man front. 6 backs, but they do come with the blitz. Kramer looks it right in the eye, and down he went. Tremendous pressure. It was Lawrence Pillars who was right in Kramer's face.
Poor Kramer's just having a tough day. When he has time, he's not throwing the ball well, and this time he just doesn't have the time to get the ball off the way he wants. And anyway, in any event, Leo Lewis was covered like a blanket by Eric Ross. Right.
Ed Judy was right in there. Did you notice, Gift?
Yes, the inside linebacker on the blitz. Third down, 19, big yardage. 49ers drop into their 4-man front once again. 6 defensive backs. Kramer, Sammy White was the intended receiver, and Ronnie Lott, I think, is going to be called for interference.
Well, he was all over it. Or so it seemed.
Well, Ronnie was a victim of having him covered so cleanly that time that he just couldn't wait. You know,
he was there so
all
early.
Over the guy.
So early, he had to do something. They almost got away with a great play.
That was a case of a guy just being covered too good. I mean, he was covered very cleanly then.
Illegal contact, number 21, 5 yards and first down.
So it wasn't on Ronnie Lott. It was on Eric Rice.
That's right. They did not call Ronnie Lott. He made a great play.
Yeah, he was right there.
First and 10, the ball in midfield. From the shotgun is Tommy Kramer. And the old draw play out of the shotgun. It seems to work every time. Gervais made the stop, but not until Ted Brown had picked up about 8 to the 43-yard line.
The Vikings seem to be a one-man team. Every positive thing they do, you look on the field, and it's Mr. Brown involved.
2nd and 2. Brown, he had the first down. And they're going to mark it right at the 40, which will give the Vikings a first down. Ronnie Lott was raining all over him.
I thought that was a lucky play because I thought the pass was deflected.
Yeah, it may have been, but what's disturbing here, the only positive thing, yards they're getting is from number 23, who's coming off the field right now, Ted Brown, and the Vikings are certainly more than a one-dimension offense.
From the shotgun once again. There's movement, and whistles blow the ball dead. Issue just joined us. It was an all San Francisco first half. And at halftime, they had totally dominated 41-10. We're in the early going now of the third quarter. The penalty indicated by referee Jim Tunney.
Right.
And stepped off illegal procedure.
Yeah, you look at it, they call this contract time for them.
Number 62 drew the defense. Still first down.
Let's say this is contract time for the defensive line, because you know their contracts are generally related to the sacks that they get. And right now with a lead like this, they're just looking for the sacks. Those guys aren't even thinking run.
1st and 15 for the Vikings. Kramer looking for Sammy White. Incomplete. Again, good coverage provided by Ronnie Lott. It'll be 3rd down at 15.
Major League Baseball, 6-2. Yanks lead Brewers. Bob Shirley pitching. White Sox off by themselves. 8-1 over the Angels in the 6th. Luzinski and Baines had homers. And there, Houston over San Diego. The other games, later starts, as you can see. We go back to the action and the Gipper.
With the ball at the 45-yard line.
Yanks are going to win easy, we told.
Never over till it's over. 3rd down, 15. Kramer back. Looking for McDowell. Marty McDowell makes the reception at the 35-yard line. I'll correct myself. That was 2nd and 15, so this will bring up a 3rd down and 5 as we watch again.
49ers are playing a lot of zone, and what the Vikings are finally doing is just taking advantage of what they're giving them, and it's a simple out pattern, and Tim Collier just couldn't quite get there.
3rd and 5, the ball just inside the 36-yard line. Whoa, that'll be Fred Dean coming in from the right side. Oh, is he quick?
Yeah.
He really
came out like a
move on the offensive tackle.
He is purely and simply a great player.
Yeah, that was purely speed. That was just like he was running a 40-yard dash. He was just coming out of the box and just simply beating.
He went around Steve Riley so quickly, routing every
right. Note the relatively low weight, ideally built for linebacker use in the manner of Dewey.
Greg Coleman is back in a punt formation.
You know, I'd think of going for it.
Yeah, at this point in the game, they're past the 50-yard line. They haven't been there often. And they're down by 31. But there's a lot of time. You can get hot.
Freddie Solomon, you had a quick look at, is dropped to the 49ers. Coleman angling for the corner. He's going to catch it, but not as deep as he'd like. They're going to bring it out to the 14-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10, and the 49ers will have their first possession here in the second half. They have a commanding lead of 41-10.
Obviously, it's easier to run when you got a big lead like this.
Joe Montana brings up the 49ers. 1st and 10, their own 13-yard line. Solomon in motion. Roger Craig, the rookie from Nebraska, right side, and Craig running again very smartly out over the 20-yard line.
He does accelerate well, Juice.
He does run well. He was just running good and hard. He ran right into, I think if he would have been a little looser, when you're a rookie, you tend to you don't want your courage to be questioned. So whenever a guy comes up to tackle, you try to run over him. I think as the years go on, he had a chance to sidestep a guy there a little bit. He may be a little more discerning in the future. But
I think he's concerned right now. He took himself out of the game. He is flexing his leg on the sideline, and we have Bill Ring in the offensive backfield now. Craig got 8 yards, so it's 2nd down and 2. And they give it to Ring. his very first play in the ball game, and it looks as though he'll pick up the first down. Bill Ring started the last 3 games a year ago for the 49ers, but their running offense, as we mentioned earlier, was about as bad as you can get.
I thought your comment after the Bill Walsh piece was most appropriate. He wanted them to get it together by mid-season. I don't think he quite expected this.
He did it right
Bill
after
Walsh tonight.
He did it right after the interview. Oh, you are such an inspiration, though.
Of course. After the interview, he made the speech to the team about intensity.
First and 10, the ball at the 24-yard line of the 49ers. We have just under 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 49ers on top, 41-10. Bill Ring again. And Bill Ring running nicely, bounces off John Turner and makes a pickup of about 8 yards. Willie Teal covering for John Turner, takes him out of bounds.
Yeah, Bill Ring, I think they picked him up from Pittsburgh. He came in. He plays a lot like old Rocky Blyer used to play for Pittsburgh. They use him much like that. I noticed the 49ers is doing some substituting. They got Walt Downing, who was an All-American, I guess, at Michigan. When he played, he's been playing guard mostly for the 49ers. And with a lead like this, I guess they figured they'd give him a chance to snap the ball a little bit.
Just look at how the Niners have been using the first down.
Second down and 2. Ball just over the 32-yard line of the 49ers. Ring. And Bill Ring, 5'10", 205-pounder, gets out over the 35-yard line for the first down at the 36. 49ers really only have 4 running backs available tonight. Jeff Moore is back in San Francisco, damaged ribs from last Saturday's encounter with Philadelphia. So they're thin in a lot of places.
In case you fans are wondering where the now tight end Earl Cooper is, he has suffered, we are told, a mild concussion. So naturally, he's on the sideline.
So we're watching Russ Francis and also Eason Ramsey on first down. Wendell Tyler. Upended, but gets to the 40-yard line for a gain of about 3 or 4. Call it second down and 6.
And the Niners will keep running the ball and running the ball and chewing up the clock. We're at 8:40 and counting down in the third quarter.
And see, this is the kind of football when you got a lead like this, the offensive line, and they're loving it because they're coming back to the huddle, they're snorting, they're going, we're men, they're acting like men. They like this kind of football.
Well, they get to block for the run. It's tough to get slapped around on the pass. Second and 6, Ring. Flag is down. Ring will have the yardage for the first down, but a flag is down in the backfield.
And I don't want to belabor the point, but the Vikings look like a tired team to me, Howard.
I think it was a point well taken.
Well, the 49ers had the extra day, but it was not calculated. They have a contract with the Giants. Giants have priority on Candlestick Park, and they had to play their game on Saturday because the Giants were playing there Sunday, and there's also a concert.
Holding 71. Still second down.
Holding on the part of the 49ers. Keith Farnhorst over the right side. And it'll be second down and 16 for Montana. Good time to blitz, and particularly when you're behind. Here comes Matt Blair. Montana reads it, dumps it out quickly to Eason Ramsey, the tight end who is in there now.
Interesting. This is the second game the Juice has done with us, Frank. He brought us a 38-7 game the first time, Miami over Washington in the preseason.
Like that man in Little Abner. What's his name? Joe Blifflix?
Now he has it 41-10. What is there about you that induces these shellackings?
I have no idea.
You've seen a few of those 41-10s up at Buffalo. Now we have a paper cup coming out onto the artificial turf. I guess it's a softball. 8:13 now remaining in the third quarter. Montana has a third down and 10. That's Nehemiah in motion. it over the middle, and look at those moves. He has the first down inside the 43-yard line of the Vikings. John Swain made the stop there, but you know, with the Ronaldo Nehemiah in this kind of a game, it would not be a bad idea to work him a little bit. What he needs is really the game work, not the practice he gets during the week. I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Walsh did not try to get the ball to Nehemiah just a little more, as we see Wendell Tyler pick up the first down. Craig is back in the lineup now at fullback for the 49ers. On 1st and 10. Tyler. And Tyler met at the line of scrimmage and maybe eked out a yard. Wendell Tyler came for a couple of 4th-round draft picks from the Rams in the offseason with Cody Jones.
I don't think Wendell's too happy right there. He was running the ball. He was counting on his guard, Randy Cross, to kick out, and he was accelerating, just expecting. You have to have absolute trust in your offensive line when you're running the ball. When you see a block that should be made, you got to assume it's going to be made. And he assumed at that time and got hit harder than he would have normally got hit.
This is why the Jew stayed so close to McKenzie, Foley, DeLon Malure.
2nd down and 9. Tyler once again. And again, he's piled up at the 40-yard line. This time a gain of about a yard and a half.
And probably one of the reasons he didn't stay with John Ayers on that play. You know, the 49ers their offensive line is not ideal for a running back. You know, they can run inside hard. If you can pick blocks, they're good drive blockers, but they aren't the best team at getting outside. And Wendell and I spoke a little bit today, and he likes running those sweeps. They're a little slow getting out there, but they do such a good job on the passes, and the 49ers are still first and foremost a passing team, and they do a good job drive blocking and blocking inside.
We just showed a graphic. Linville Elliott, one-time Cincinnati Bengal, the last man to gain over 100 yards in a game for the Niners. Against
3rd and long for 49ers. Montana did not do that on a 41-10 lead with 5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Neil Elshire down Montana, and it'll bring up 4th down, and one of the heroes of the night for the 49ers, Tom Orris, comes back out to do the punting. Although he has definitely become a running threat. Rufus Best goes back for the Vikings. They wouldn't let him return punts when he was up at Buffalo or at Oakland, but he started it towards the end of last year, and he had 7 returns at the end of the last year, an average just under 12 yards with them, and he likes it. As I mentioned earlier, Rufus Best had a 76-yard return. Well, since the 49ers are inside the 42, they're going to let the clock run down. They'll take the 5-yard penalties, and now watch Minnesota decline it.
Are we in the 3rd quarter?
With 5:12 remaining.
In the 3rd quarter.
Stick with us, Juice.
Now, this could be a catch-22. Vikings will decline this. But the 49ers, nevertheless, got 30 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, but I think Bill Walsh did a little smart thing there, and Bud Grant just wouldn't let him have it. You know, okay, take the 30 seconds, but we won't take the penalty. No big deal.
Well, you literally could do that all night, couldn't you?
Yeah. Well, we may see it a few more times before the night's over.
Vikings very good at blocking punts. They go for it. They miss. Orris is going to catch the corner, however, with a fine kick. And they'll mark it inside the 5-yard line. Tom Orris with Miami for the past couple of years. Outstanding. And all the way down to the 46-yard line of the 49ers. And why not when you are down 41-10? They're beautifully thrown.
At an end zone look. We don't see the count. He just ran it up. He beat right.
He had let him inside. That could have been 6. You pay the price, so don't you? Oh. So the Vikings, with 4:56 remaining in the 3rd quarter, have moved into the 49er territory where it's been tough sledding for them all night. Baron Nelson now the single setback for the Vikings. reverse type action. And Darren Nelson breaks a couple of tackles. The crowd loves it as Nelson gets inside the 40 to the 39, a gain of 8.
But after he broke those tackles, did you see the way Ronnie Lott hit him? Looked like he was trying to put him 2 feet into this new super.
Frank said it all. Ronnie Lott hits the way Donnie Shell hits, like a linebacker.
But he also has other gifts. The man has perfect speed for the corner. He reads well. He's willing to take the gamble. He's not shaken up when he gets beaten. All cornerbacks are going to get beat. Leading tackler for the 49ers. Now Ted Brown on 2nd down and 2 is the single setback for the Vikes. Quick count by Tommy Kramer. Sammy White will have a first down close to the 25-yard line. Dwight Hicks covering, but he was wide open.
Thought there might be a flag on that play, Juice, but no.
Sammy White, he's had a great career. Now his 8th year. Over 5,500 yards, 45 touchdowns. Leo Lewis now split up to the top of your screen. Terry LeCount to the right. That's Sammy White, bottom of your screen in the slot. Ted Brown, single setback. Kramer, wide open. Terry LeCount, he drops the ball in the end zone. Tommy Kramer did a good job of coming off Sammy White when he all of a sudden, Terry LeCount broke free in the end zone. And that's one that you'll remember the rest of your life.
Yeah, as you can see, Terry, what he did was what they try to teach backs, catch the ball in your hands. And this may have been a time he should have got his shoulders up there and tried to smother the ball. He's backing up.
Just had too long to look at him. 2nd down and 10. Not a bad idea to come right back to something to Terry LeCount. Draw play, Brown. And he draws a bunch of 49ers. He'll lose yardage back close to the 30-yard line. Jervis was there first, the safety man. We're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
Eyewitness News follows the game on WABC-TV New York.
Brown loses back to the 30. Good defensive hustle by the 49ers. A year ago at this time, they were defending Super Bowl champions. They went on to post a 3-6 record. And it's so easy to fall from those lofty heights. The last 3 Super Bowl winners have all done that. 3rd and 15. Going for LeCount. And Terry LeCount has the ball. He's in the end zone.
This is what you call instant atonement.
Yeah. I'm happy for Terry. In a game like this, you don't want to see a guy have to think about that one pass the whole game. I'm a little happy for him there.
Yeah, he may have done just a little bit of a push-off. He was playing the ball all the way.
No, he played this beautifully.
Played.
Came back on the ball, which is what a good receiver must do and know when to do. And that's what happened there.
30-yard touchdown pass. Denny Ricardo on now for the conversion. And Ricardo bangs it through. And the Vikings now trail 41-17, and Terry LeCount has redeemed. That's what they're down at the moment. They're going to try an onside kick. Has to go 10 yards. Well, it travels the 10 yards, but a 49er comes down with it.
Yeah, you prefer those kicks that go 10 yards, but not on a fly.
Ron Ferrari, who was stretched out on the field a while ago, comes down with the football for the 49ers. We'll be back. Vikings, and given the 49ers good field position, 48-yard line of the Vikings. 41-17, 2:20 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the 49ers on top. Movement, and it could be that a 49er pulled a Viking offside. Russ Francis again looked like he was
I think you're right,
a little
Kip.
eager.
I think it was clear.
He missed all of the preseason and played sparingly last week, so his timing has to be off a little bit.
Ball start, number 77, still first down.
Jim Tunney never changes. He's a marvelous man. Great personality, great speaker.
They called Bubba Paris for moving quickly, not Russ Francis on the last play. First down and 15. Roger Craig powering back to midfield. Or it'll be second down and 12.
You know, Big Bubba Paris, he weighs in at almost 300 pounds. He was the 49ers' #1 draft choice. Last year, got injured and never really got to play for him. Last week, he had I guess, a decent game. He got in a little trouble late in the game. They took him out of the game in the third quarter. I think Mr. Hairston, who was one of the better defensive ends in the game, beat him a few times. But he's really done a good job today.
He's really a rookie. Just first heard all last year. And he's up against Mark Mullaney most of the time tonight. He's been around a while. On second down and 12. Montana fires and is complete. It goes to Ronaldo Nehemiah. Hooks up. Short of the first down by about 1.5 yards.
I like the point you made earlier about picking this kind of game and this point in time to start working to Nehemiah, building his confidence and experience.
I think you were with me, Howard. He's an amazing athlete. Down in the Superstars Championship a couple of years ago when he got into the weightlifting, and he showed all those big old boys how to lift it. He is really, number one, a fine young man. Number two, a great athlete.
He's won that competition. He's won that competition the last 3 years, hasn't he?
He's won it 3 years in a row. Tyler, and he's going to be held short of the first down.
Think I should come out of retirement, Howard, and to get my title back?
I think you owe it to
You won the first year,
Not
the first. That was the year that Joe Frazier almost drowned. Second year. Wherever you are, Joe, we still love you.
No, I think you owe it to Ed DeBartolo Jr. to pay back some of that money it took from him.
Talk about Eddie. He came in at halftime. He's one happy man. And I know all the people in Youngstown, Ohio, we call it San Francisco Eat. He's so happy. We're going to send our best to them. And to Candy DeBartolo and the kids.
Fourth down with a 41-17 lead. San Francisco is going to go.
Well, they may be just trying to... Well,
there was movement. Tyler was in motion, but they did not call it.
Remember I told you earlier about this one-upsmanship the two coaches are doing with one another? It was doing this week that Coach Grant said no matter where he's going to be on the field, if it's a few inches to go on fourth down, he don't care what, he's going to go for it. Well, look who did it. Bill Walsh. I guess Bill is reading the papers.
By the way, mentioning Ed DeBartolo Jr., I mentioned earlier, he visited the Vikes training complex today, which I think is the best in all of football. He was hugely impressed with it. He said, I'm going to build one even better, but I'm going to have to go south to do it. San Jose.
49ers using all the time they can. They're going to let the third quarter expire. That's exactly what they've done. The Niners won to 17 as they cut because at one point they were trailing 41-7. First down and 10. The 49ers with the football. 37-yard line of the Vikings, and this is Wendell Tyler. And Tyler barrels inside the 35. A gain of a couple. It'll be second down and 8.
All right, there were the halftime stats with clear domination in total yards. And note the turnovers, 3 against the Vikes in the first half. Time of possession relatively even. At the end of the third quarter, time of possession still not a factor. And San Francisco still with the yardage edge.
Ray Wersching started it all off with the 38-yard field goal. Then it was Montana to Clark. There was Wersching with another field goal, then Montana to Cooper, and then Wright with an interception into the end zone. And so it went in the first half. All the 49ers. Roger Craig, right side. Runs into trouble over there.
Hey, why does this always happen to me? I've done 2 games now. We've gone into the fourth quarter, and I think it's been about a 50-point difference in the game.
Well, you can't foul up the one a week from Monday when you're with us, because that's the Dolphins against the Raiders in the Coliseum.
Yeah, I know Al Davis and Tom Flores and Don Shula won't let me down.
There's a gain of 4. It'll be third down and 6. Roger Craig alone set back for the 49ers. Ramson in motion. Montana quickly to the tight end, Wes Francis, and he powers his way to what appears to be a first down near the 25-yard line. And it will be a first down for the 49ers. Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell, O.J. Simpson.
A virtually croaking Howard Cosell. That teaches smoking those cigarettes, Howard.
We're lucky to have Howard with us. He was flying in here yesterday and lost a couple of engines on one that only had 3.
It's been a great week for you, Howard.
Right on top of the sports beat.
I tell you, there is such a thing as a survivor.
Oh, man, you are that, baby. Roger Craig follows the ball, picked up by the Vikings. Coming up with it, Randy Holloway.
That was an interesting experience.
Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis, where it's been an all 49er night. The Vikings have just got a turnover. They have the football back at their own 33-yard line. First down and 10. They trail 41-17. Just under 13 minutes remain to be played. Kramer underthrows the intended receiver, Ted Brown, working out of the backfield. Ted Brown is a typical Bud Grant offensive back. He did the same thing when Chuck Foreman was here. Foreman annually would lead in rushing and receiving. And Ted Brown, #1 draft pick in '79, for the past 3 years, has done just that. Back to 1981, the last complete season, he had over 1,000 yards rushing and 83 receptions. I don't know how many he's got tonight. We're going to check him out, but he's caught a bunch of them.
Yeah, he has.
Second down and 10. Kramer picked off Eric Wright, his second interception of the night. He loses it and then falls on it at the 40-yard line.
This is as bad a time as I've ever seen Tommy Kramer have. And as you look at him walk off the field, he's utterly disgusted with himself. Nobody's perfect.
Second interception of the night has turned the ball back over to his teammates, the 49ers. Eric Wright, of course, went in for a touchdown earlier from 57 yards out on an interception of Tommy Kramer. The ball at near the 40-yard line of the Vikings. Tyler piling up the numbers, getting 5 yards to the 35-yard line. There's Steve Dills. I think we'll see him, particularly if the 49ers get it in the end zone, because I think that Bud Grant would like to let Dills work a little bit and also get Kramer out of a contest that would be totally out of reach.
I think what the 49ers are doing right now is they got a new back. They're counting on him a lot. I think they're trying to get him that 100 yards if he doesn't already have it this game, and they'd like to get 1,000 yards back this season. And they're just working on their running game. I don't think they've had an opportunity to run like this for a long time.
Tyler has 90 yards thus far, and he's going to get 4 more there. Tough man, Tyler, 198-pounder, 5'10". I want to remind you, coming up Saturday, Howard gets it all together for you on Sports Beat, the Emmy Award show here on ABC. We're going to talk about pro football's Rich Diana. A remarkable young man from Yale, was with the Dolphins, left there, wants to become a doctor, and he's also going to take a look at the misfits and mismatches that plague professional boxing. That's Saturday on ABC Sports Beat with the coach, Howard Cosell. If he works it out, gets his way back home, he's got a long trip ahead of him. Third down, less than a yard. Roger Craig, left side. He'll come up short. Fred McNeil, the veteran 10-year linebacker on the right side, was right there to meet Roger Craig. And there's a loss.
Yeah, I think
about 3 yards.
I think Wendell's a little tired because normally he would have taken that ball inside. What they are really trying to do is get him his 100 yards and then get him out of there. But he's getting a little tired right now. I think they wanted to get it on that play, but he got to 6 yards. He'd have been over 100, and that would have been the last we would have seen of Wendell tonight.
This is interesting because where the ball is located, they are just out of Wersching's range. And the decision is to go for it with your lead of 41-17 on 4th down to bring the punter in, Tom Orris, and they brought in Orris. And you'll see another penalty assessed against the 49ers, and perhaps the Vikings will take this one.
I think Bill Walsh is being a little kind here, too, because even though it may be out of Ray's range, there may be a time this season he's going to have to try one from 50 yards. And you would think that, well, hey, there's no win in here. He'd have a better than average chance of making it. But with the score being what it was, I think that probably had a little more to do with him deciding to punt the ball.
I think you've got a good point. So Tom Morris will punt away. Rufus Best will be in the middle. They have men on either side, of course, because Morris is either going to kick it very high, try and bring it down inside the 10, or he's going to look for the corner. Morris wants the corner. And he put a reverse spin on that ball, and I'm sure he did it deliberately, as Jesse Sapolu got down there to kill it near the 5-yard line.
If Don Shula is watching, yes, this is Tom Morris tonight.
Sparingly last year. He's in the lineup now. 6'1", 195-pounder out of Stanford in his 5th year. Completes it to another Stanford man. This is Darren Nelson. And Nelson will have a first down and give Dills a little breathing room. But on 81, we saw him, Howard. Remember, he started the first 2 games when Kramer was hurt. And then he got hurt in our game against the Raiders. Shoulder injury and missed the entire season.
Well, Rick Jervis almost learned a valuable lesson there, that when you come up on a receiver, you should wrap your arms around him, because he tried to block him down, and Darren almost spinned on him. If he'd have spinned on him, he'd have been all the way for a touchdown.
Out of the Stanford connection, because Jervis is also from Stanford. On 1st and 10, Darren Nelson gets to the 20-yard line, a gain of 2, maybe 3 yards. Call a 2nd down and 7.
Right now, the most important factor in this game is that Tommy Kramer can't get injured.
Yeah.
He's out for the night, protected by his coach, Bud Grant. He had a terrible night for Tommy Kramer, but he is a great young quarterback, and this night will be forgotten. There he is.
There's Kramer. I see Willie Harper on that play made an excellent play. Ward off the block and made the tackle. I think he's the oldest 49er. He's been there since about 74.
He's had 6 head coaches.
Yeah. He's got 5 kids now. He and his wife walked in, and hello to the kids back home.
2nd and 7. The blitz is on. Dills reads it, gets one-on-one coverage, and fires it out complete to Terry LeCount, who gets the first down at the 30-yard line.
You can believe this is irritating to the 49ers secondary. They're trying to make a comeback from what wasn't their best year last year. And, you know, you look around the league, who has the best secondary, and in a week or so from now, you'll be reading the yards that the Vikings are getting throwing the football right now, and it's really sort of misleading.
Well, who do you think has the best secondary, Frank, in the league?
I think whoever has the best defensive line puts the most pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely right.
1st and 10. Galbraith in motion. Whoop! It was Bobby Leopold who took the ball when Tony Galbraith left it there for him, and the 49ers have it turned over to them once again.
Looking at a replay here, and Galbraith is trying to do, I think, just a little delay pattern come underneath. And
that'll be listed as an interception. Cold and simple.
Don't even need a tip drill for that.
Well, I tell you what, when you're on the field 2.5 hours before a game, your backs are the guys that are doing most of the running, and Tony Galbraith certainly doesn't look like himself here tonight. He on one run, he didn't run what I thought was the right hole. He didn't catch the pass that time. And once again, I just think they're a tired football team.
Wendell Tyler just exploding from the line of scrimmage, and he's one of those backs, and there's so many of them. We're sitting with one tonight. You look down, and they look like they didn't do anything, and all of a sudden you look down, and they move the marker, and he picks up 6 yards.
Hey, he's fired up now, too, because normally he gets that slow walk with that wiggle going. See the turnovers there, 5-1. But right now he's fired up. He went to the sideline. I bet you they told him he needed 10 yards. He'd have a 100-yard game, and he needs fired up.
He needs 1 at this point. Okay.
All right, and I bet he won't be in the game after he gets it.
He's looking for it.
Howard out.
On 2nd and 4, Tyler, he's got his 100, and he has the first down inside the 20 at the 19. Walker Lee Ashley, a rookie from Penn State, is in there defensively now for Minnesota. He made the stop.
In the meantime, in the U.S. Open tennis tournament, Ivan Lendl of Czechoslovakia still has not lost a set in the entire tournament. He did away with the brilliant young Swedish player Mats Wilander in straight sets.
Well, look like they're going to pad Wendell's stats a little more.
Leave him in. Wendell Tyler, I'm surprised too.
Maybe his last series then.
A little more than 7 minutes remaining in the game. The game dominated by the 49ers. It starts where we are now is Roger Craig. Left sides it. He'll get 4 yards to the 15. And it'll be second down and 6.
By the way, Frank, you'll be interested to know that Jimmy Arias defeated Yannick Noah in 5 sets.
Really? Yannick Noah is one of the best-looking athletes I've ever seen. Did you see him hit that ball the other day between his legs? I don't know, that just... I know he shouldn't have been in that position, but it was amazing. Ivan Lendl. It looks like Lendl and Connors then, right?
Yeah, Jimmy Arias, don't. That kid is getting better every time out, every year. I don't know if he's physically big enough to be able to, powerful enough to beat these guys, but...
Tyler, this time on the receiving end, gets a couple of yards out of it. It'll be third down and about 4. Rufus Best in there defensively now for the Vikings. Wendell Tyler. There was a time a couple of years ago when they thought he'd never play again. He was in a horrendous automobile accident July 4th in 1980. Almost killed him. Dislocated a hip. Came back late in the season. And then, of course, in 1981, put together a 1,000-yard season. Now he comes out. If he was in San Francisco, he'd get an ovation. Got his 100 yards plus tonight. Montana with a third down and 4. And a man open, and it's Carl Monroe. And Monroe does not get into the end zone, but he has a first down near the 1-yard line. Carl Monroe.
At this point, Juice, there's still plenty of time.
Rookie out of Utah, Carl Monroe.
Yeah, I think old Grant would need that tie-in on the headphone that he told us he had earlier.
San Francisco, by the way, will play a week from Sunday at St. Louis, while Minnesota's game a week from Sunday will be at Tampa Bay. We'll see Minnesota again December the 5th. We'll watch Roger Craig barrel into the end zone for a touchdown. The rookie from Nebraska, and the 49ers.
That is first NFL TD? That's Roger's first NFL TD?
That's the first one.
I got a feeling he's going to see a few more.
Yes, there'll be more.
The 49ers, who dropped their game 22-17 to Philadelphia last Saturday, are most certainly going to bring it even at 1-1. Well, the Vikes will be 1-1.
That was a tough defeat for him when you score a touchdown with 11 seconds in the game.
Call it back for holding. They get Tyler's fumble inside the 10 with 1:28 remaining. That was a tough one to lose. We'll be back here in a moment. Minnesota against Detroit on the 5th of December, and we'll watch the 49ers against Dallas December the 19th again.
That
here
should
on
be a
Monday Night
beauty.
Football. And, of course, Monday night we'll be in Kansas City and San Diego. Wershing to kick off. Redwine and Nelson are deep for the Vikings. And it goes along the ground. Keeping it low is Wershing. And is picked up there by Dave Huckman.
Well, you tell me, Howard, how do you see that San Diego-Kansas City game?
I think it'll be a close, tough game. Kansas City upset San Diego last year. They've got good defense.
And they're at their best when they're pass rushing.
Yeah.
Well, they'll get an opportunity to rush.
Yeah, they sure will.
I heard a lot about the improvement in the San Diego defense when they played the Jets, but very candidly, I didn't see that improvement. I saw the Jets chewing them up.
Near the 35-yard line, Dills with the 1st and 10. He gets it out to Marty McDole. McDole steps out close to a first down up at the 44-yard line. Marty McDole, second-year man out of Mississippi State, good speed.
Baseball, Yanks beating Milwaukee 6-2. White Sox leading California.
2 in a row for the Yanks over Milwaukee, right?
Houston beats San Diego. Zip, zip. Reds, Dodgers 4th. Atlanta trailing Giants 6-3.
First and 10, 45-yard line. Hills tried to squeeze one in to Tony Galbraith, and people were all over Galbraith. Ron Ferrari, the principal defender there for the 49ers.
What about the 2 they lost before these two? The Yanks,
I didn't see them.
Oh, you know, this is, I guess, the worst I've ever seen a Bud Grant team play as you look at the comparable rushing yardage. It's been a flat team tonight, a tired team. It does not represent the way they'll be this year. Too much personnel.
Second down and 10 for Steve Dills. Comes the blitz, and Dills will feel it. It was Bobby Leopold, who's had a couple of big plays tonight. 4th-year man out of Notre Dame. He's the all-rookie team of 1980 when he came up, and it's an 8th-round draft pick, and then he had a lot of problems injury-wise. He had a stress fracture of his leg that bothered him a great deal last year. But he's filling in nicely tonight when the 49ers are hurting at linebacker.
I tell you, and last week they were hurting at linebacker also, and they played good defense last week. Even though they lost the game, they only gave up 125 yards rushing and 41 carries. They did a good job.
Third down, 16. Oh, and it's picked off once again. Eric Wright gets his 3rd of the night. And you hardly ever make the hat trick at the corner.
Yeah, I think it's apparent. The 49ers are good, but they're not this good, you know. There's an end zone replay, and the Vikes just aren't clicking tonight. They're just that one step off today, a little out of sync. It's pretty much the same pattern that he intercepted the ball on the first
Looked like a
quarter.
replay.
Yes,
the one he took 57 yards for the touchdown.
Only difference was he couldn't break it. But as I said, a flat, tired team.
We've got Guy Benjamin in now. He was another Bill Walsh product out of Stanford that led the NCAA in passing. You think of the quarterbacks that Walsh has touched: Kenny Anderson at Cincinnati, Dan Fouts at San Diego. This young man, Guy Benjamin, now directing the attack as he heads off the Bill Ring on 1st and 10. There'll be other days, Tommy, and many of them.
Walsh was the man who went up to scout Kenny Anderson. Remember, Giff?
Couldn't believe what an athlete he was. He watched him play basketball.
That's right.
Tell me what top NFL running back we had an illustrious career that Bill Walsh benched.
Oh, Jay Simpson.
I still love it.
Well, I said he's better with quarterbacks. Second down and 9.
Handsome running back, I should have said.
Bill Ring bowls to the 40-yard line, and it'll leave Guy Benjamin with a 3rd down and 4 situation.
This is the most points scored against the Vikes since 1963.
When did they come into football? What year did they come into football?
Not just about that.
The time, yeah.
They came in 61. They had that electrifying opening game victory under Van Brocklin for Tarkenton at quarterback over the Bears, and that was it.
Go, Howard, go.
After that, it was done.
Coach sell, buy coach sell.
On 3rd down and 4, this is Carl Monroe, the rookie out of Utah, over the right side. He'll be short at the 1st down, bringing up a 4th down.
Very tough break for a young man on your Yankees. Steve Kemp, who came to the Yanks with such great hopes. Struck down in batting practice today by an Omar Marino line drive, fractured cheekbone. So that ends what's been a doleful year for a fine young man.
49ers going to let this dribble down at the 2-minute warning. There it is, Chester. Rufus Bess has settled back for Minnesota, but Horace has seemingly been inclined to go for sidelines tonight, and he does again. Oh, and he caught another one. Horace, he probably would not accept a call from
Shula doesn't believe this.
Don Shula's got a great one down there. I can tell you this ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Nissan, builders of high-mileage, high-quality cars and trucks for 50 years. Available at your Datsun dealer. By Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. And by Bell Yellow Pages, a complete source of buying information for products and services. And by IBM.
Well, look at the stadium, a little empty, huh?
Yes.
Hey, Howard, tell me about the Yankees. Do they got a chance?
Sure, they've got 8 games left with the Birds of Baltimore, but Palmer's back, and the Birds seem to be the best team in all of baseball. At least I think they are.
Tony Galbraith over the left side, gets out over the 10, close to the 12, and gain of about 8. It'll be second down and 2.
In further response to you, the Steve Kemp injury that I mentioned earlier, the assumption is, of course, that he'll be out for the rest of the season. It depends on the nature of the fracture. You know that as a football player.
And off is Galbraith, who lopes around the right side, gets the first down out over the 15-yard line.
As a one-time football player.
I also tell you, our telecast tonight is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. And they would not, I don't believe, want to replay it here in Minnesota. Inside 1 minute. Even the Vikings now working on the clock is Tony Galbraith. Takes it over the left side, gets close to the 25-yard line. I remind you again, we'll be in Kansas City on Monday night as the Chargers come into town to meet the Chiefs. And we'll see O.J. again a week from Monday night out in Los Angeles.
My hometown now.
And you will not jinx us.
I happen to be a Raiders season ticket holder. Well, once I'll get to see a game.
Second down and 2 as time should expire with this play, barring anything like an incomplete pass. Or an out of bounds.
Really thought this would be a competitive game.
I honestly didn't think the 49ers had a good chance here because with their weakness being linebacker, I thought the halfbacks would really take advantage of those guys.
That's our end zone cameraman, Joe Coutinho. He's leaving us. He's going back to school. And we wish him well because, like all of the other technicians who constitute our Monday night crew, he has rendered invaluable service.
Darren Nelson around the right side. Seconds ticking away, and that should do it. Both the Minnesota Vikings and the 49ers will go to 1-1 on the very young season. And a very rewarding victory for this man. I'm sure he had questions after last week. He feels better.